Fundraising mindset in nonprofits. What do you need to write a great project proposal? It's one of the questions that I see and hear the most is where can I find a great project proposal writer? Where can I hire somebody who can write my project proposals for me? I see this question, I think, almost every week in the nonprofit Facebook groups that I'm a member of. And maybe it's a question that you also have and you would like maybe to have an answer for that question. And I have a very simple answer for you. And the answer is you can find a great grant writer in your own organization, maybe within yourself, even, right? And yeah, I know you can hire grant writers, and those are people who are more experienced than you at this moment. Those are people who are probably feeling much more confident than you at this moment. But there's something that you have. Actually, there are two things that you have that they don't have that are super key for writing a winning grant proposal. And the first of those things is detailed knowledge from your own personal experience about the cause or community that you are serving with your nonprofit. You know all the details, all the things that might not seem important when you're briefing somebody, but all those details that are important to make the project proposal come alive to the reader, but also to make sure that the project proposal has all the things in it and doesn't have other things in it that are needed to make sure that it can be actually implemented successfully, right? Those are things your external grant writer doesn't know, cannot know, and probably cannot really easily find out because it's probably knowledge that you are having inside of you that you're not even aware of. And the second important thing that an external grant writer doesn't have, and that's needed for a great project proposal, and that is your fire, your passion for the community, for the cause that you are serving with your nonprofit. That's super key because if you write a proposal, if you design a proposal with your passion, with your heart and your mind, of course, it will shine through and it will reach the reader if you're able, of course, to write it up neatly. Yeah, so there might be things like writing a project proposal neatly where you say, yeah, I don't have those skills. I don't know how to do that. And that's true. You might need to learn a few technical things in order to become confident at grant writing and in order to become a successful grant writer. And those are technical information, but also very important. There are three mindset things that are super important for you to work on. And the technical things are things that are totally learnable, of course, right? So maybe you don't know at this moment, like, what is a good project idea? How can I know that I have a great project idea? Maybe you don't know all the terminology, right? The terms that the donor is using in their call for proposals or in their proposal format that you have to fill out. So you'll need to learn about those things too. You may need to learn about the key building blocks of a good project proposal. You might need to learn a bit about budgeting, for example, or about monitoring, right? So there are things that you might need to learn, like also reading a call for proposals carefully and understanding what's written in between the lines. What is really important to this donor for this call for proposals and what isn't as important and why. And of course, you might need to learn a little bit about writing in a way that it's attractive for a reader with easy sentences, words that they can recognize and resonate with, but also maybe with little stories and little details added here and there that will make the proposal become a story that they want to continue reading. Yeah, I'm Suzanne Bakker. I'm a nonprofit operations strategist. I love all the things that most people find boring, confusing, or scary, like finance, admin. HR, contracting, management of nonprofits, but also fundraising and project proposal development. I talk about those topics all the time in my channel, so if you like to follow my videos here, you can subscribe to my channel and you'll receive a notification whenever I have a new video coming out. If you like reading stories that I write with tips about nonprofit operations topics, then I invite you to click the link in the text below this video and join my Monday and Thursday stories, where I share real life stories of nonprofits around the world and their operations challenges. So let's go back now. We listed a few things like technical knowledge and skills that you might need to develop in yourself or in somebody else in your team in order to have a good grant writer in yourself or within your team, right? So you need to know about how to read a call for proposals to understand whether this is a call for you or not. You need to know what is a good idea and how you can recognize that and how you can test that. You need to know the building blocks of a good project proposal. You will need to know about how to sprinkle in details to make it a readable, attractive proposal, and all of these things, right? And these are things, as I said before, that are totally learnable, right? This is something that isn't rocket science. Anybody can learn those things like terminology, and so on and so forth, right? And you can join courses to learn about that, and there you go. I, for example, have a very practical course about project proposal design for nonprofits, where you can learn all of those things and where you can also do the second thing that's important in learning new things, and that's practicing, and then reflecting on what is the result of your work so far, right? What are you learning from your experiences in designing projects, in talking to donors, in receiving responses to your proposals, right? So those are things that you can learn in a course like mine or another if you prefer. And that's one thing totally doable for you to get a good grant writer in your team. As I said, there are 3 mindset issues too to work on, which are also totally doable and things that you can learn and work on. And if you like, talk about with me if you get stuck somehow, or if you feel that your mind is in a loop that it doesn't want to get out of. So what are the key mindset issues when it comes to grant writing or project proposal writing or project proposal development or project design? All of these terms, right, are terms that are used for the same thing, like creating a text, submitting it to a donor in order to get money for the activities that are written in the text to achieve the goal that the activities serve for the budget that you have presented with the text, right? This is all one thing and many terms, right? Learnable. So what is important in that is, first of all, that you need to really have a passion and a real interest in the work, of course, but also in your donor. You also need to bring a lot of perseverance and tenacity, because this is not something that's going to be created overnight. Yeah, I've never seen a project proposal being created in 5 minutes, for example. So it requires that you're able to focus on something for a while and that you can continue with this work even if you might not see instant success, right? That's important. And important in this is to understand, and that's, I think, the first mindset issue, that all of this is a learning thing, right? First of all, because grant writing is changing. There are trends in what donors want to support, how they want to support it, how they ask you to explain this, how they ask you to account for it. Things are changing in grant management, calls for proposals, and so on. So you'll need to be able to keep up to date with that, and you need to be able to learn from that, right? So that a proposal that might have been perfectly written 10 years ago, this year will not get support because the whole way of presenting ideas and project proposals has changed. And in some donors, it's changing more and faster than in others, right? So you need to see this as a learning process, a learning experience, and you need to be open for these changing things. And you can't say, I've been on my course, now I know all the terms, I know what to do, and from now on I will be successful, right? You still need to keep your ears open and your eyes open to really follow what's going on and what's changing, and to build relations with your current donors so that you can learn from them how they are changing their way of thinking about grants and grants management and so on and so forth, right? That will give you a lot of background understanding that you need for your next successful project proposal. At the same time, learning is super key because um, it is something that is always trial and error, right? The second mindset thing that I want to share with you regarding grant writing or project proposal development is there isn't a trick. It isn't like in my course is a great course, but I cannot give you a recipe and say, like, if you follow this recipe, then you'll bake a cake and for sure you will win an award with that cake, right? Because it depends on so many other circumstances whether your cake will be the award-winning cake at this particular festival. And so I can give you a recipe, and I will in my course, but still you will need to do a lot of work, for example, and most of all, when it comes to understanding your current donor or your potential new donor. You will really need to understand what it is that they desire, what it is that they dream of, what it is that they would like to achieve in this world, whether they are a person, a company, or a government agency. Doesn't matter, they have dreams. Um, Official dreams of government agents might be called strategy, policy, but they are dreams. And you need to understand what their dreams are. You will need to understand also what they're afraid of, what for them is risky, what for them is scary. And you'll need to understand what for them is important. And you need to understand how they talk about this so that you can talk to them using the words, the terminology that they are using so that they can recognize this and they can feel at home in your language, in your words, right? And with those words, you need to weave a sort of web from the dreams of your donor to the needs of the community or cause that you're serving. And the bridge between those two things, the web that you're going to weave, will be the project proposal. And so your donor needs to see that that web, that bridge, that project idea, that project proposal is the thing that will help them achieve their dream if they support you fulfilling the needs of your community or cause, right? So that's why you need to use their words to make it easy for them to follow. You need to bring in details and flavor to make it attractive for them to continue on reading. And of course, you'll need to know about all the things that are important to them and about all the technicalities of your project proposal that will make it an easy yes for them, right? So that's something that you need to invest time in, energy in, and for which you'll need your perseverance and your tenacity, as well as your real interest in the donor and in where the donor streams overlap with yours and with the needs of the community or cause that you're serving, right? So that's super important. And this too is, of course, something that is changing, where you need to say, yeah, you can't say, I researched this donor 3 years ago and I know everything about them, because they might have changed in the meantime, right? Government agencies renew their policies every 3, 4, 5 years. And so they might set different priorities. They might have learned from past mistakes. They might use different words. So you also always need to be on top of that. Yeah. So you need, again, your learning mindset to keep on learning about your donors and your potential donors, and you need to keep on being curious about them and making them feel that you are really interested in them. Then the third mindset thing that I wanted to share with you is no is also an answer, right? This is, of course, the one thing that we are all afraid of, that we spend so much time on creating a perfect project proposal, and then we submit it, and then, I don't know, 6 months later, somebody says no. And then what, right? That's the nightmare. But at the same time, it is reality, right? No is an answer. A donor will get so many project proposals when they send out a call for proposals that they cannot possibly give money to all of them. So getting a no is a reality, and there is no successful grant writer who has a 100% success rate. Yeah, I consider myself a successful project proposal developer, I would say. I was lucky because my first ever proposal that I created was immediately awarded, but that is just a coincidence, right? I was lucky. At the same time, after that, I built a skill, and I built knowledge, and I built understanding. And I'm sharing all of that with you in my course. But it doesn't mean, nevertheless, everything that I built, and I'm pretty confident in my skills and I'm satisfied with my skills. Nevertheless, I don't have a 100% success rate, right? I have been able within a certain period of 3 years to raise about 12 million euro for different projects, for different teams from several different donors, multi-year grants, few months grants, bigger grants, smaller grants, all of them. But in the same period, I also had rejections for more or less the same amount, right? So I focus on the success that I feel that I had because I was able to get in money so that the team could do the things that we wanted to do, and that we had money to do that in a way that we could feel it was good quality that we were able to do. At the same time, I could equally focus on the failures, on the no, on the rejection, and say, oh my goodness, half of my proposals, I think it was a little bit less, but let's say roughly half, failed. I didn't get the money when we wanted it for the thing that we wanted to do. I'm a bad fundraiser, I'm a bad project proposal developer, right? I could choose to focus on that part too, but that's not going to help me, right? It's better if I focus on the success I've had and I use that positive energy, that positive mindset to say, okay, I got rejected. Do I understand why? Do I understand how I could do better next time? Or was it just bad luck because of circumstances, because of whatever happened in the world that made this donor change their priorities? For some reason, my idea wasn't a priority anymore. Yeah, because if something happens in this world, then donors also, of course, want to respond to those emergencies. And then it might mean that they might not have enough resources for the other things that they also value, but they might not be able to support them to the same level as before, right? So you always try to bring your positive energy to learn from the rejections and to say, okay, this rejection was silly because, I don't know, maybe you forgot to add something, you forgot to tick a box, or maybe you created a proposal for a call for proposals that wasn't really suited to you. And so you can learn from that. So next time you can make sure that somebody else double checks that you tick the box. You can make sure that you check before you spend a lot of time developing a proposal that the donor will never award because it doesn't fit with the call for proposals, or your organization doesn't meet certain criteria for eligibility, for example. So you can learn from that. And most of all, you can learn from rejections that a rejection is not the end of the world, because there will always also be a yes at some point in the future. And if you invest in learning about the mindset that you need for being a successful grant writer, having a learning mindset, investing time and not seeing it as a trick with a quick fix, and accepting that no happens, it's part of life. And if you invest in learning the technical things that I highlighted before, like about the terms, reading a call for proposals, building blocks, creating attractive language, and so on and so forth, then you're good to go and you will be a successful grant writer for your organization, or you will have a successful grant writer in your organization without needing to invest money in hiring external contractors to do this for you, who can never be as good, as committed, as dedicated, as knowledgeable, and as passionate as you are. In my next video, I want to talk a bit more about what you need to know about your donor or potential donor to be a successful grant writer or to have a successful grant application. I hope to see you there. Bye for now.